Hey guys, it's your girl T, and today I'm doing a video that isn't really cat related at all. I'm doing a video that is all about my tattoos. I'm not just passionate about cats, I'm passionate about ink and tattoos. I'm actually a tattoo apprentice myself. I like collecting tattoos. I've got 14 in total. Yeah, and I wanted to share them because I think you'll like them. I've seen a lot of people put disclaimers on their videos and I didn't really want to do it with mine, but I just thought for, just future reference, or if anyone decides that they want to comment, which you're welcome to, I'd love to hear your comments. If you don't like tattoos, this won't be the video for you, obviously, because I'm going to be showing off my tattoos. If you're here just because you wanted to watch a cat video, I'm afraid today isn't that day. However, I do have some tattoos of some cats, so stick around. So I'm also going to be very transparent with my tattoos. I want to talk about the price, how much they hurt. I've got a pretty good pain tolerance, but some of them do actually really hurt. And if I wish, or I think the artist is good, I will tell you which artist I went to and whereabouts I went. All of my artists are from the UK, so I will mention just sort of their whereabouts if I can remember them, and I'll try and mention their names as well. So my first ever tattoo, I got when I was 17 years old, which, if you're not already aware, in the UK is actually the illegal age, and you are meant to be over the age of 18. And the reason I got this at 17 was because I had decided at 14 that I wanted to have tattoos, and by the time I got to 17 I was way too impatient to wait another year to get one. So I begged and I begged to get one, and I eventually found someone who was willing to tattoo me in their sitting room. Not something I recommend. Thankfully it turned out pretty okay. It's 7 years old and it still looks perfectly well. I still like it. It's not my favourite tattoo, obviously, but I don't hate it and I don't wish to cover it up. So it is just these music notes here. No, I did not want them upside down or lopsided like this. I actually asked for them to be right side up, but the artist stuck it on this way, the stencil, and I was too nervous to say anything, so I just let him do it. And yeah, so we paid, I think he wanted £10 for it, and we gave him 20 because that's all we had. And yeah, pain tolerance wise, it was my first tattoo and it was done 7 years ago, so I've had far more painful tattoos now, but at the time it freaking killed. I wasn't happy with the pain at all. I would have said easily like a 5 out of 10, which is ridiculous because the tattoos I've got now are a lot more painful than that one was, I'm sure. So I'd probably give it about a 3 out of 10. The wrist isn't too bad, but yeah. And like I said, it was done in the sitting room. I don't really remember the name of the artist. I don't really think it's good to share who he was because he shouldn't have done it. So the second tattoo I ever got, I actually waited until I was 18 for this one. I got it done at a tattoo shop. I won't be mentioning the artist's name because I don't actually know where they work anymore. They don't work in the studio that I got this tattoo done. But yeah, so I got these bird silhouettes right here, these three birds. It took about 30 minutes and it cost £35, which I think was the store minimum. And yeah, so I'm also a big lover of birds. I love them. Before I decided I wanted to become a tattoo artist, I actually wanted to work with birds of prey. So I got my 3 favourite birds. This one here is the European Jackdaw. They're part of the corvid family, so the family of crows. They're amazing. If you live in the UK, I can guarantee you've seen one of these before. They're beautiful, they're very, very small. They're one of the smallest out of the corvid family, and they've got grey heads. And they've also got really, really pretty eyes. They're sort of like a bluish grey, which is really unique in the bird world. And then secondly, I've got my favourite bird ever. This is a common buzzard, once again. By the way, these are all British birds. If you live in the UK, you guaranteed to see one of these. These are all over the place. They look huge, they're really not. They're my favourite birds ever. And then this one here, once again, if you live in the UK, you should recognise this straight away because of the tail. This is a red kite. On a scale of 1 to 10, that hurt pretty bad. The Buzzard, so the middle bird, hurt the most. I would have probably said at least 4 out of 10 for that one. It was also the first tattoo I ever got without a parent being around me, so I was all by myself, so I was being tattooed by, you know, someone that was absolutely terrifying, to me anyway. He was the loveliest guy, but he, you know, he was huge, he had massive piercings in his nose, and I was terrified of him. Yeah, he was really, really sweet. We listened to Adele the entire time, but yeah, like I said, I paid, I think, about £30 to £35 for it, which was the store minimum, and it took about 30 minutes to do. Yeah, and I got that one done in 2013. If you see me looking down, it's because I've had to write notes because I'm forgetful as fuck, and I will definitely forget in which order I need to go. So for my third tattoo, this is my least favourite tattoo, not because of the meaning is very, very special to me, but because the way it was executed I didn't like. It was one of on the whim kind of tattoos. I try and at least plan my tattoos out for at least a couple of months before I actually, you know, set one, I book one in, whereas this one, we were just in town and I was like, I want a tattoo, I need to get this tattoo. So there's the Roman numerals, so they read 06, 10, 14. And some of you guys might think it's a little bit weird, but this is actually the date that my cat died. Her name was Tabby and she was my baby. I've mentioned her before in other videos. She was my childhood cat and she died very, very suddenly. She died of severe jaundice, and 1 minute she was okay and the next minute she died. And I took her death pretty badly. I mean, it resulted in a tattoo. I don't like the tattoo. I wish I had waited and gotten a proper tattoo. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but this eye here is faded, and it's been like that since I've gotten the tattoo, and the tattoo I got in 2013. So I mean, it's old, but it's not old, and it faded like that within the first year. I think I paid about £35 for that one. Once again, store minimum. And on a pain scale, maybe a 2 out of 10. It didn't bother me at all. But yeah, not my favourite tattoo. I don't know if I would ever cover it up. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too close to my music notes, which, as I said before, I don't want to cover. So I think it's just one of those tattoos that I'm just going to live with. So my fourth tattoo is the first tattoo that I'm going to mention the artist's name in. His name is Maury Decay, and I got the tattoo done, and I'm going to say it completely wrong, but Santo Crivero, in London, Hackney. He was amazing. He was such a sweetheart. I came in and I bought the tattoo actually from Woucher. They had a deal going and I just went ahead with it, and I didn't realise he was the one I didn't actually do any homework on the tattoo artist, which was bad. But thankfully it worked out for the best. I paid, with the voucher, I think it was about £141 for a 2.5 hour session. Yeah, and the pain scale for this one was 2 out of 10 once again. He was so soft with, you know, his touch that I barely felt it. I'll show you in a minute. I will have to stand up to show you. It's probably one of my favourite tattoos. It used to be one of my most commented on tattoos. I used to get people at work grabbing my arms and sort of like tickling it because it's a cat. But yeah, I'll show you. So here it is. This is my tattoo. This is of Alaska, who is, I imagine you've probably seen in my videos. I will do a Meet Alaska video soon. She is my baby. I bought her when Tabby died. I bought her like 2 weeks after. So Alaska is basically like my saving grace, my angel. I love her to pieces. We're very, very close, so I had to get a tattoo of her. So my fifth tattoo is going to be a little bit difficult to show you because it's actually on my back. But I'll try my best to get a recording or an image of it. Obviously I will struggle because I can't see it myself. And it's of Mimikyu from the Generation 7 Pokemon from Sun and Moon. I've been playing Pokemon since I was, like 5. I'm 24 now and I still love it to this day. I'm so hyped for Sword and Shield, but as soon as Mimikyu got released, I knew I needed to get that thing tattooed on me. I just fell in love with it instantly, and I've always wanted to get something from Pokemon tattooed onto me. The only thing I don't like about this tattoo, and the reason why I won't be sharing the artist's name, is because when I turned up, he had literally googled Mimikyu and found the first image that he liked and printed it out. So he didn't actually draw the design himself. And this is particularly annoying because, one, I'm an artist, so I can only imagine how annoying that would be for the art. But also because all of my tattoos are custom to me, they have been made specifically for me. There shouldn't be another copy, and if there is, mine is the original. And so this is the first two tattoos, because I got 5 and 6 by the same guy. The 6th one is Simba from The Lion King, which I didn't find as annoying, but the Mimikyu one did upset me. But yeah, I paid £160 for the 2 of them, which I thought was pretty good, considering I think Mimikyu took him 40 minutes to do, and Simba took about half an hour to do. So yeah, 160 quid. I gave him a £20 tip, probably shouldn't have. But yeah, I'll try and show you. So hopefully you can see that. Yeah, just my little Mimikyu. So yeah, on a pain scale of, I would say out of 10 would be for that tattoo. That really hurt. He had me in a really uncomfortable position, and even though it only took 40 minutes, the placement of it just killed. Easily 6 out of 10, and it bled so much. And now I kind of know what I do now, being a tattoo apprentice. I've spoken to my mentor, and he is pretty sure the reason it bled so much is because the guy probably was doing it too deep. Which is a little bit concerning, but the tattoo itself is from 2016, so it's healed. It was a pain in the arse to heal because I can't see it, so I had to get my other half to help me and clean it. But yeah, all in all, I still like it. I don't really see it that much anyway. It's like my little secret tattoo that nobody really knows about because I've got long hair. I always have my hair down, so people don't really see it unless I'm just like, oh, I've got a Pokemon on my back. So yeah, my 6th tattoo, like I mentioned, is by the same guy, and I got Mimikyu first and then I got Simba, and yeah, that was a breeze. I think because my back was so painful, I didn't feel it. I put my headphones in because he was playing horrendous music that I didn't like, and we were done in half an hour and I barely felt it. So my 7th tattoo was done by an artist called Attril, I think that's how you say it, and I had it done in Southampton. I don't think she works in that tattoo studio anymore. She is absolutely amazing though. I highly encourage that you go check her out. I'll put her Instagram down below. She does a lot of dot work, which is something that I like. And yeah, so as far as price goes, I paid, I think, about £250 for it, and it was an 8-hour session. I was going to go back and get some colour done to it, but I decided that I didn't want it coloured. But it was an entire half sleeve, so it's, you know, it's a big tattoo, and £250 is actually pretty damn cheap. But I'll just show you. So I don't know if that's a good angle, but it wraps around like this, and you can kind of see the leaves. So yeah, this took about 8 hours to complete. Like I said, it was £250. Pain wise, I'd probably say about a 4 or 5 out of 10. It was definitely a lot worse sort of later on into the session. I was starting to get a little bit fed up with the pain. But she was such a nice person, it just made it, you know, kind of easy actually to sit down. She was very, very warm and welcoming. We talked about, you know, Harry Potter and Okami and just like geeky things. So yeah, it was really nice. It was a nice experience, lovely studio. The studio is still there and there are some amazing tattoo artists out there. But yeah, absolutely amazing. So for my 8th tattoo, I'm not really going to talk much about it, just because I went to a studio and they charged me £10 for it. It only took 2 minutes, but £10 is ridiculous. The cheapest store minimum I've ever seen is £30, and it was just one of those sort of spur of the moment. It killed. I think the guy went way too deep. No, I know the guy went way too deep. And it's just this little triangle here. I sign all of my artwork with a triangle, just because my name is Tanika, so I use, instead of putting the A, I put the triangle, and also because the triangle is the element of fire, and I am a Leo, and the element for Leo, is fire. So it's just got a couple of meanings, but yeah, it's blown out. It's just kind of a shitty tattoo. It doesn't really, I don't really like the placement of it because it sort of is too close to this tattoo, which is my favourite, and I'll talk about that one instead. So my 9th tattoo is my most complimented tattoo. It is my favourite tattoo. It was the most expensive tattoo so far, as it's not completed, and the lady who did it is amazing. Her name is Kate Selkie, that's her Instagram name. She's very well known, and I got it done she's in Worthing, and she has her own tattoo studio that she did when I went. Not only is she probably the nicest tattoo artist I've ever met, she met me at the car park, which I've never had before. We walked to her studio together. She had bought me food, she had drinks ready. I've got celiac disease, so I have to be really careful with what I eat and drink, and she had already had that covered. She did her research and she knew what I would be okay on my stomach. She just went the extra mile. The tattoo she did is of my favourite animal ever, which I mentioned earlier, and it is a Buzzard, which is this little guy. So this tattoo took probably about 8 hours, maybe 8 or 9 hours to complete. It's my favourite tattoo. I picked her as an artist because she is amazing at doing birds, something that not a lot of people are very good at. And she smashed it out of the park. This bird is so important and meaningful in my life. Every time I see one, I have a good day, which is why I wanted one permanently on me. And she did such an amazing job. Like I said, it's not finished at the moment. I still have the wings that need to be done. I did get this about 2 years ago. She's so popular that it's difficult to get an appointment with her, but it is a tattoo that I do plan on finishing hopefully soon. I just forgot to mention as well that the price of that tattoo, I haven't actually paid anything towards it, but by the end I think she quoted me about £400 to £500. So my 10th tattoo is also one of my most complimented tattoos, mainly because it's the most visible. I work in a pet shop, and a lot of people see it. It's the one that most customers go, oh my gosh, she's got a cat tattoo. I have 2 cat tattoos. So I mentioned earlier when I was talking about Alaska, and also my Roman numerals, that both of them, I got both of them at sort of a difficult time when Tabby died. And I was always very, very upset about my Roman numerals. I wanted something that actually meant something. I felt like I didn't give Tabby the proper tattoo that she was meant to have. I don't think the Roman numerals were good enough. So I ended up getting this tattoo of her by a man called Arthur. He works at SK7 in, I think, Bagshot. The tattoo cost about £300 and only took 3 hours. He was so gentle, I barely felt the tattoo, and it's just amazing. So this is just the tattoo here. Everything about it I adore. It looks exactly like Tabby. He captured her perfectly. He took a photograph that I took of her, and he just stenciled straight over it, which is what I wanted. I didn't want him to, you know, have sort of artistic freedom. I wanted Tabby on my arm, and that is what I got. It's just beautiful. It's a standout piece. You can see it, you know, just the detail from miles away. It's also the tattoo that most people come up and they start like stroking it, which is a little bit weird, and please don't do that because it's my arm. But she's just, oh, she's so beautiful. So, my 11th, my 12th and my 13th tattoos are not done by anybody special or worth mentioning. They are tattoos that I did myself. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I am actually a tattoo apprentice. I got an apprenticeship in July, and part of me practicing is I went from working on fake skin, something called real skin, to having to practice on living skin. And because I can't practice on real people but other people, the closest thing I could find to that is myself. So I have 3 tattoos that I did myself. They are pretty crappy, if I do say so myself. I am still learning. I've only been tattooing properly for about 3 months, if that. So I'm still very, very new to it. I'm still trying to find, you know, sort of my style, my grounds on it. I will put some of my artwork up on the screen so you guys can kind of see what I hope to achieve one day in my tattoos. But at the moment none of them look like that. So the first tattoo I ever did on myself is this little bumblebee. I apologise for the mess. If you can't tell, there is another tattoo right here. Right here, not over there, right here. And I've got Sanoderm on me already, and my bumblebee has been covered by all the gunk and the goo. This needs to stay on for another day before I can take it off. But this is the little bumblebee I did. I probably spent about half a day doing it. I did it in the studio, my mentor was watching me. And as you can see, a lot of the lines have sort of fallen out. This is because I didn't go deep enough. There are some lines that I'm not too happy about and some lines that I am happy with. But yeah, on a pain scale of 1 to 10, it pretty hurt. It does hurt tattooing yourself. It's obviously in quite a painful spot. It's near my ankle. And obviously price was nothing because I did it myself. But yeah, my little bumblebee, I can start to go over him again in 2 weeks, once he's 100% healed, and I plan on doing a little bit more shading, going over the lines, and then maybe one day even colouring him in. But yeah, my little bumblebee. So this is the second tattoo I did on myself. It is still a little bit scabby, as you can probably tell, and it's just a little lavender sprig. And it's right by my knee. It really hurt. I did go a little bit too deep in certain areas. I don't know if you can tell. This line here on the leaf was a little bit too deep, and the shading on this leaf needs fixing. They both need to match each other. But all in all, I kind of like it. I'm excited to see what it'll look like when it's a little bit less scabby. But yeah, pain tolerant. The pain levels for this one, I'd probably say a 5 out of 10. It's weird tattooing yourself. It feels totally different to being tattooed by somebody else, because obviously when you put yourself in pain you want to stop, but at the same time you don't want to stop because you already started a line, you don't really want to stop it there. But yeah, I like it. And the third tattoo that I ever did myself was this giant cat skull. I did this 2 weeks ago now, so it's still a little bit scabby and near. But I wanted to do quite a large tattoo because I wanted to give myself something to work on, and I have a lot to work on. I want this fully shaded, I want to add colour to it. The original design that I drew up had flowers on it, had a little moon, but I think it was quite a good idea to start something quite big. My mentor kind of liked it. Good. I wouldn't say it's my best work, but it's definitely better than the other two. But yeah, this also really hurt. Once again, you know, when you inflict pain on yourself, it's hard to not stop. But yeah, I'd say I did it in about 5 hours, which seems ridiculous, but I was taking breaks within that, and I was sort of, you know, taking my time because it's on myself and I wanted to, you know, be serious about it. But yeah, my cats. So for my 14th tattoo, I will have to insert a clip of, because as you can tell from the bumblebee, it is still wrapped up and it's very, very gooey. There's a lot of plasma attached to it, which is blood and ink and other shit mixed together. So yeah, this tattoo was done by my mentor. He did it yesterday, and we started about 10:30, and I think we finished about 6. And it killed. We still have so much left to do, and it's only going to get more painful. But the tattoo is of. I've got a bit of a recurring theme here. Birds, more specifically the European jackdaw, which is one of these. I've got a habit of filling myself with birds. I absolutely love the tattoo and I'm so excited to get it finished. My next session is on the 27th of November, and I think I'll need a 3rd session after that. My mentor is an absolutely amazing artist. He goes under the name of Sylwester Luston, and yeah, he's been the most amazing mentor. He's so talented. He's amazing with realism. He's so careful. He was so gentle as well, even though it was a very painful spot. I'm sure if it was done by somebody else, it would have hurt twice as much. But yeah, those are all my tattoos. I hope you enjoyed.